Democrats have been ramping up their inane antics.
The fascists.
Yep, exactly right.
And I spell the Democrat Party DEMO capital KKKRATS.
Oh, that's a good idea. I'll hashtag that one.
Yes. Spread it around.
Fantastic.
That's their legacy. And I remind them that Strom Thurmond, who was a KKK leader, was a senator from 1958 until he died in 2010, and Shitlery praised him.
I thought that was Byrd.
Not Strom Thurmond. Sorry, Robert Byrd.
Yeah, Robert Byrd. Yep, her
Robert
mentor,
Byrd.
That was her mentor and inspiration.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
He gave up his job as a sheepsman so he could expand on the Democrat plantation with a new model.
Yes, exactly. That's what I have a great write-up that says exactly that.
Excellent. Yeah, I wrote an article about LBJ and the new plantation, too, that you might like.
Ah. Let me find this one. Hold on.
Okay.
Racism, the media, black racists, racism for politics. Let's see, what did I put it under? I list all the Democrats who voted against desegregation, who passed Jim Crow laws, who fought the Civil Rights Act. I name some of them. Senator Ernest Hollings. He was a KKK guy, died in 2005, but he was a Democrat from 1950 to 2005. There's Bill Clinton, his mentor. You know, these people, it's unbelievable. So then I said, oh yeah, and Al Gore Sr. voted against the Civil Rights Act, blah, blah, blah. I said, guys like them and LBJ figured out that you could oppress, segregate, and harm more African Americans with kindness, in quotations, than by hiding under a sheet. And you can fool everyone into thinking you're the good guy, too, while you're at it. Yes, the Democrat racists and Klansmen just morphed into the far-left haters, liars, totalitarians, and sneaky racists that populate the modern Democrat Party of today. They shamelessly use blacks and minorities for votes while keeping them impoverished on the welfare state plantation. Go read the works of black author Thomas Sowell about how welfare destroyed black families and communities. He exposes the racist Democrats perfectly.
Yep, I very much enjoy Thomas Sowell.
Yep.
And,
here's another one. Here, listen to this.
Yeah.
Another one I wrote. The Democrats created the KKK, Jim Crow laws, and supported slavery. They opposed the Civil Rights Act and desegregation. And the Democrats are still the party of racism. But now they just hide behind the soft racism of low expectations instead of their dirty white robes. They use welfare to keep blacks dependent upon the state instead of lifting them out of poverty. In that way, the Democrats can milk them for votes using the taxpayers' money. They enslave minorities to big government and handouts and viciously attack any woman or minority who dares escape the demo KKK rat party plantation. Remember the filthy things they said about Democrats like Condoleezza Rice? Said by the Democrats about Condoleezza Rice? She was depicted as Aunt Jemima by liberals. Just look at the way they treat accomplished black conservatives like Clarence Thomas, Allen West, and Herman Cain. Or look at the way they treat conservative women like Michelle Bachmann, Meg Whitman, Laura Ingraham, and others. Liberals absolutely foam at the mouth when women and minorities refuse to support their destructive agendas. Democrats act like rabid slave owners taking revenge when one of their pieces of property escapes their plantation. Now that got tons of thumbs up.
Fantastic.
And they do. Look how vicious they are. And the Bill Cosby thing, that's all about, he spoke out about the shortcomings of the black community, and Gloria Allred and her sex liars for hire went after him. Gloria Allred's a hit woman for the DNC. She goes after anybody, but mainly blacks, for supposed sexual offenses. They tried it on Herman Cain. They did try it with, and when Herman Cain dropped out of the race, all the complaints against him suddenly evaporated. Same with other people they pulled this on. Now, when Bill Cosby criticized the black community, Allred and her sex liars for hire, they opened a sealed deposition, and she shared it with women who then went forward repeating the crap they read in the deposition. Remember, no one came forward against him in all these 40 years except for one woman, and there was a misunderstanding, which he apologized for, and he made a settlement with that one woman. And as long as his deposition was sealed, there were no other accusations. As soon as Gloria Allred unsealed his private deposition, which was illegal, and shared it with her paid skanks, then suddenly all these women start coming forward claiming 40 years ago he did the same thing to them. How does somebody defend themselves from that kind of he said, she said? All the evidence, if there were any evidence, is gone by now, which is why there's a statute of limitations on this, and which is why all those women can't sue him. So they're pumping all this money in having the original defendant sue him again when the case was settled. This is how vile democrats are.
That's amazing. I mean, I knew something was wrong, but I didn't realize the details. Hey, another thing.
Gloria Allred is behind this rubbish. She and her filthy daughter.
There's another thing about Bill Cosby's history that had me suspicious. He basically was the icon for upward mobility in blacks' families.
Yes.
And his son was murdered, and I think that was done by the elite to basically try to shut him up.
He and his family are very decent people, and people like him, Clarence Thomas, Herman Cain, all the ones under vicious attack, they betray the lie that racism holds back blacks. They smack them right upside the head. What holds back blacks is the victim mentality sold to them by the Demo KKK rat party. That's what holds back blacks. And here's my favorite. It's called An Insidious Evil. I write all my own stuff. I've been accused of getting it, of plagiarizing. I write all my own stuff, and I said, well, being accused of plagiarizing this because it's so good is a great compliment. Thank you very much.
Oh, I had the same thing happen to me with my article, Secular Arguments Against Gay Marriage. Yep. Some idiot's going, oh, you plagiarized it, and I found it online. He found somebody that thought it was so good they copied it from me, and their comment was author unknown or whatever. I didn't write this, but I found it. And so I'm arguing with this idiot about whether or not I wrote my own stuff.
Somebody borrowed your stuff, quoted you, and now you're saying right. I just take that crap as a compliment. Okay, here it is. An insidious evil. The Democrats use blacks and other minorities for their votes. They have created a permanent victim class of minorities who are dependent on the state. Democrats buy them with the tax money of others, promising them all kinds of free benefits. Welfare has destroyed black families and communities. The victim entitlement mentality deprives them of their dignity, their independence, and their ability and motivation to achieve. They lose the chance to learn the self-discipline. In short, it robs them of success and fulfillment. It also condemns them to poverty. In addition, they fall prey to envy and hatred for others who have what they don't. They feel that racism is all that's holding them back and thereby dig themselves into a deeper ditch. They feel that the success of others is undeserved because they don't see what it takes to earn it. They falsely believe that racism is all that's holding them back and thereby dig themselves into a deeper ditch. The Democrats use the emotionally charged issue of racism to perpetuate their sense of victimhood. In effect, this keeps them powerless and enslaved. It's an insidious evil. Yeah, I wrote this like 15 years ago. And I've posted it God knows how many thousands of times. And part of now, like this, when I first wrote that, very few people were thinking that way. Of course, nowadays, you know, if you're a Republican or conservative, you're automatically racist just by that fact alone, according to the irrational, lunatic left. They think Trump needs a psychological evaluation. The entire DNC and all its supporters need psychological evaluations because they're lunatics. And now, did you hear overnight they defaced a 250-year-old monument to Columbus?
Yeah, fantastic.
You know, these are throwback barbarians. They deport them either back to Africa or dump them in the middle of some godforsaken Islamic country where they can have the kind of society they obviously are fit for. Yeah, I think since they hate America so much, to give them a choice of the totalitarian countries they want to live in and send them there.
Yes, indeed.
One-way ticket, goodbye. Stop destroying our society because they're just malcontents and evil people. Let's see how much welfare they get out of the Afghanis or Pakistan. Yeah, send them to Iran. Let's see how much they get there. Or Cuba, where they have all these free hospitals with no doctors and no equipment.
Excellent.
Which is why, you know, your great Cuban dictator had to come here for his medical care. Because, you know, some animals are more equal than others, especially in communist countries.
Yes, indeed.
And the moron left are still celebrating this guy and Che Guevara, a mass murderer.
Yeah, they're idiot college kids wearing these stupid Shea shirts. And
their website says that they support the use of violence to achieve their ends. They should be rounded up and jailed just for that.
Of course.
That right there is a hate group. They promote violence. They belong in jail.
Yep.
This should not be tolerated. None of the neo-Nazi groups say that.
I know.
Yeah, and I'm tired of apologizing for them. We aren't them. It doesn't matter. There's a handful of them anyway. You know, there's like 5,000 of these hate groups, neo-Nazis and KKK people. There's only 5,000 in the entire country. So they're a threat how? When we have 132 million people in the country? These people are dropping the bucket.
So far, the only crime they're doing is infiltrating conservative marches wearing swastikas to try to brand everybody. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Then now that might be Soros's doing.
Oh yeah, it's mostly well. Plus,
I've thought about that because see, the Nazis are socialists. They support abortion. They support. They're Democrats, in fact.
Yep. Well, the other
and
thing
Nazis were always socialists.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that all these idiots in what I call the move-on cults, which I hashtagged, are following the elder Soros, who literally worked for Hitler when most boys would have a paper route.
Yep.
He literally worked for Hitler.
And he betrayed his own Jewish people. He was helping put his own Jewish brothers into ovens.
Yep.
That was that pig's job.
Yep.
Oh, here's a quote which they won't let me post online. And you'll see why. This part of it isn't the problem. Slavery was ended with the Civil War over 150 years ago. You Democrats lost your bid to keep blacks as slaves, even with your twisted use of Scripture. The true Christians defeated you racists. So you Democrat racists and Klansmen just morphed into the far-left haters, liars, totalitarians, and sneaky racists that populate the modern Democrat Party today. In truth, you Democrats never changed your racist ways. Today you just practice the soft racism of low expectations for minorities and keep them enslaved to the big government plantation and the victim mentality. Democrat racists like LBJ figured out that you could oppress, segregate, and harm more African Americans with kindness, in quotations, than by hiding under a sheet, and you can fool everyone into thinking you're the good guy, too, while you're at it. And now this is the part they won't let me print. LBJ even made the vile statement that welfare would keep them niggers voting Democrat for the next 100 years.
No, he said 200.
You racist. What?
He said 200 years.
200, sorry. You racist idiots must be very proud of your shameful heritage.
Excellent. But they were the most...
The city is so quick to find these assholes. Well, why aren't they rounding up the destructive bastards who are wrecking historical monuments and fine them $1 billion apiece? We won't see much more destruction after that.
Yep. Yeah.
Go round those pigs up. What good are they to society?
Yep.
Leeches, handout voters, filth.
Yep. Oh, there's some stupid communist I was arguing with on Facebook today, and he was defending Antifa, right?
Yeah, tell him to go move to, North Korea, where he'll have the kind of government he wants.
I go, you'll have to excuse Tim because he apparently has a gay relationship with an Antifa BFF. And then he writes back, he goes, what's your evidence? And I go, well, apart from your friends list, that's a veritable who's who of every single domestic terrorist, and some that even have the Antifa logo for their profile picture, it's just an informed guess, or educated guess.
Oh, God. I mean, they are just pawns in the Soros war.
Oh, then the same idiot posted a meme that has a picture of a communist commissar woman and a Nazi dude side by side, right? And it says, here's the difference. The Nazis started the Holocaust and the communists ended it.
No, they didn't.
I know. So he got all sorts of corrections in the comments. But this guy is like an absolute naked communist.
Because he's an idiot. What's his age? Is he, like 18?
That I haven't figured out.
He live in his mom's basement. He never had a job. Doesn't know a thing about life.
Yeah, seemingly. But I've completely crushed him in several debates before.
Now you're gonna like this. I think every freaking university should be shut down over their lack of diversity in the professors. There should be quotas, and they should be shut down, and they should be made to compete on their own, no government money. End of story.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
Yeah. End of it. And quotas.
Yep.
For the right political stuff.
Yep.
And none of this rubbish. Their teaching should be fact-checked. And every opinion, the counter-opinion presented.
Yep.
Even Noam Chomsky and who was Cruz's professor in law school? These two guys, they're criticizing Antifa and the fake Russian collusion delusion and all the rest of it. These are police state tactics. Yep. You don't have probable cause and you appoint a special counsel who has no limits to what he can go and do, and he takes the SWAT team in the middle of the night and batter rams Manafort's house and turns it into a pile of rubbish, looking for anything to hang Trump on, and they couldn't find anything. This was 3 weeks ago they did that, and they have nothing.
Yep.
And the lead FBI guy quit, which means they got nothing.
Yep.
They got nothing. And by the way, that idiotic dossier, which is like a 9-year-old put it together,
Yep.
and Comey was interested in it, I wanted to pay for more. It comes from Fusion GPS and their contact.
Yeah, Veselnitskaya is deep with that bullshit.
So the Russians put that together. So what? They want Trump? They put together a dossier like that, but they're trying to get Trump elected? See, the opposite's true. There was collusion between Russia and shitlery.
Yep. Well,
and old butthead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Ukrainians and Veselnitskaya, the Russian agents.
Now, that's what really needs to be investigated, along with why Comey let her skate when she's an absolute traitor.
Hey, do you know
when does the FBI let people they're investigating destroy all of their computers and cell phones?
You know, there's an interesting connection that I think we should explore. You know that.
Well, you know that Mueller and Comey are long-time Clinton bagmen.
Oh, of course.
Long time.
But here's an interesting...
And they're bunglers. They bungled everything. These are the two idiots that put Martha Stewart in jail for nothing.
Yep.
They railroaded this businessman who now runs a charity to help people who are falsely accused. They put him through a decade of legal crap, and he was finally vindicated. But what they do to people's lives, and I don't, neither of them are conservatives. They're liberals, and if they try to pretend otherwise, they're just liars. The two of them, Clinton bagmen, going back decades.
Yep. Well, here's an interesting thing. You know that one of the adopted Obama daughters, because, two men can't make a baby, apparently her actual name is Natasha, her real name. So that makes it an interesting connection to the Russian adoptions thing that was being discussed by Veselnitskaya.
Whatever. His kids, they are a steaming pile of mess because of the dysfunction of their parents.
Yep.
And Malia, nice name, means bad, means evil, malevolent.
Yep.
Malia was already carted out of some place. She's been doing drugs. She's in trouble constantly. And the media covers it all up.
Yep.
They did admit she's starting to look like her so-called mom in terms of getting fat. Anyway, whatever. I mean, I maintain that I'm kind of used to male and female chassis, and even though Sasquatch is a huge gorilla, no guy has hips and butts like that, not even black men. The black men, their butts look different. Women put weight on differently, and their chassis are different. Sasquatch has big hips, huge. They had to do a lot to try and cover them up. No tranny guy, I don't care what they do, they just can't make their chassis look that way because you can't alter your bone structure unless you pound the hell out of it. And you're not going to do that to your hips. Some people do that to their faces, but you can't do it to your hips. That would just be debilitating.
So you're suggesting that hips don't lie?
So women can't hide that. I mean, some are born without it, but that was not Michelle Obama's case. Now, if she's transgender or whatever the hell, who the hell knows? I can tell you this. If he ever slept with her, which is unlikely because he likes guys, think Larry Sinclair.
Yeah, and he likes young boys too, apparently.
Yeah, he went to that island without Michelle. After he left the presidency, he went on a couple months on this island for gay men.
Oh, fantastic.
Did you know that? That was right after Trump got in office.
No, I didn't even know that.
The media didn't report on his vacation because it was a well-known gay island.
Ah, well, I think I might...
And he went there without Sasquatch.
Yep, I guess there's already enough dicks over there.
Yeah.
No need for him to bring his own dick to that party.
Who knows what his dick looks like? You know, it's amazing. It's funny, actually, that Bill Clinton's twisted dick from Peyronie's disease is well publicized, and still people don't know about it.
We'll get you out or give you full.
But the Peyronie's disease is what got him convicted, because the one they call Trailer, Jones, Paula Jones, described it, which proves he dropped his shorts.
Yep.
She described it. You know, the idiot libs, they don't understand what went on there. He was nailed for perjury. Yeah, he lied about his affair and all the other hundreds and millions of affairs he had his whole life. He's a big liar. But what they got him on was perjury.
Yeah.
And he was impeached but not removed from office. And the reason he wasn't removed from office is that pretty much the Republicans did not want Gore being interim president because it would give him an edge in the election.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't remove him from office. Impeachment and removal from office are two different things. So Clinton was impeached.
Yep.
Because he committed perjury, as well as abused his power in gross ways as president, having sex on the Oval Office desk and whatnot, and all of this crap on the taxpayer's dime. This is not cool. Yeah, he's working hard for the people. Says who?
Oh, yeah.
What's our interest in him banging some kid, some deranged girl who could be his daughter?
Yep. Not only that, but
I used to always share that when his signing hand was busy holding the cigar against Monica's underparts, that was the best service he did to the country. Because the rest of the time, he was signing away everyone's rights and, would have anyone else put in jail forever for ever doing anything like that.
Well, that's like saying Obama's best work for the country was when he was on the golf course.
Well, with Obama, though, every time he was on the course, it represented something. Because every time he did some major catastrophic danger to the country or disaster, then he went on the golf course to celebrate. It was like...
Sure. Yeah, well...
Yeah, anytime he was out...
His entire presidency was doing major horrible things to the country and golfing.
Yep.
So, I mean, he was golfing so much that, of course, it coincided with every crappy piece of shit he did.
Oh, plus occasionally he'd combine it by golfing with well-known, renowned terrorists.
Well, that piece of shit is organizing Antifa. He's been paying these groups. After Trump won, the DNC met with all its leaders, Schumer and all the rest of them know about this, met with Obama, and they strategized the way to tear Trump down. Russian collusion garbage, Antifa agitating, BLM agitating, violent groups. They are paying these violent groups to do these things and sending them here, there, and wherever. Their trial balloon was with McCauliffe, because McCauliffe in Charlottesville had the police stand down. They had the nationalist protesters bottlenecked. And when, and the ACLU got the permit for them to protest. Yeah, because they knew that the protesters were going to be used as pawns by the left. So, yeah, the ACLU is protecting free speech. Sure it is. Yeah, right. The whole thing stinks. So they send in these people, the nationalists, into this narrow corridor. And then McCauliffe, when they get to the end where they're supposed to demonstrate, have their peaceful protest against taking down monuments, McCauliffe calls off the protest. This is before any violence started. He called off the protest and made the nationalists come back through that bottleneck where all the Antifa thugs were lined up with weapons, so that the people couldn't get out of that park without being attacked by Antifa. And then the left wants to blame the violence on the nationalists and a handful of neo-Nazis and other thugs who represent like 0% of the population, really, and blame it all on them.
And are just as likely Soros plants as anything.
Well, yes, because there were just a few. This was a white nationalist protest. They were protesting to protect monuments. And they didn't bring weapons and they didn't do the violence. It was Antifa who started it, and the first reporters on the scene, who were already there, they were being beaten by Antifa too. They actually tried to report that Antifa started it, but they were shut down by the left.
Yep.
So that was a setup. McCauliffe set it up. You know Obama was involved. And it's supposed to be the match that lights off the tinderbox for them to go destroying public property everywhere and tearing down monuments. Doesn't matter if they burned a bust, a 150-year-old bust of Lincoln. Now, how is that a protest against white slave owners? They burned a bust of Lincoln that was 150 years old. These people are just destructive animals.
Well,
they have nothing to say. They're just out there to destroy things and create chaos. And they're paid to do it by Butthead and his minions.
Well, plus the globalists at the top are arranging the destruction of history globally because they want to.
Of course.
To remove every single artifact.
They use Islamics to do it.
Yep.
And now they're using these cockroaches, leftist, idiot, moron, brainwashed kid cockroaches to do their bidding.
Yep. And some idiot actually defended this going, oh, well, that's what books are for. I'm like, what do you mean, like Zen people's history? And books are a little bit easier to burn. And you ever hear the Alexandria Library?
Yeah, books are easier to rewrite.
Yep.
Books are easier to rewrite. They've been trying to rewrite the history of Israel, and every time they go in there, the archaeologists go in there, they discover that, the Jews owned the whole area. What the fuck are Palestinians except interlopers? They belong in Jordan, where they came from.
Yep.
Just give the whole territory to Israel. That's my compromise. Push the barbarians into the sea, because all they want to do is kill people. They even pay. Their government pays people to kill others. Did you know that? Abbas pays the families of people who die killing Jews. Did you know that?
Yeah.
I mean, why are we tolerating these barbarians? As far as I'm concerned, the Palestinians have no credibility. They're terrorists. They've already killed anyone peaceful who lives in their own territory. They've killed off all the Christians. They destroyed the church in Jerusalem, that Christian church. They trashed and destroyed that piece of history. Did you know that?
No, when did this happen? I didn't even know that.
It happened last summer. Well, go online. You'll find the date.
Yep.
They trashed it. They've driven all the Christians out of every Muslim-dominated country, mostly killed them. And those are the only refugees that never reach our shores, because the Muslims actually throw the Christians overboard on these boats. Kill them or sink the boats if they're mostly Christians.
Well, plus, Mr. No Religious Test Obama actually had the State Department deny requests from the Syrian Christians that were coming here. There were there were actual women and children, while these fighting-age male scumbags doing the killing are invited in droves with no question.
Yes, right. Now, why hasn't Trump cleared out the State Department? Because they're still promoting idiotic policies.
Well, I think what's going
State Department needs to go out.
Well, I think what's going on is that Mueller's...
Goldman Sachs needs to get out.
Yep.
A bus needs to hit Kushner. We didn't elect these people. He needs to clean out the Obama holdovers. Cruz would have done it. Why is this fucking taking so long? And the two people who are doing the most good in the Trump administration, Jeff Sessions, he is aggressively going after sanctuary cities, MS-13. He's investigating civil rights violations in Charlottesville, and we know what that's going to turn up. Don't we?
Yep.
McCauliffe, who thought he'd be president, hope he ends up in prison.
Oh, man.
He is doing these wonderful things. Oh, do you know what else Sessions just did? It was in the news 2 days ago. He discovered that the EPA, which was doing these shakedowns of conservative businesses using bullshit EPA regs, twisting them and going after only conservatives, shaking these companies down for hundreds of billions of dollars and funneling that money to Obama supporters. They had a slush fund.
Nice.
You see, the way it's supposed to work is if the government wins a suit against somebody who polluted, these weren't polluters anyway, you know, they were being fined for stupid things, like Gibson Guitar.
Yeah.
So anybody who donated to Republicans, which is why Democrats are always interested in who are the donors. It's none of your fucking business. We know you fascists want to go burn crosses in their lawns, but we're not going to let you do that. We know you want to take them out of their homes in the middle of the night and kill them. We're not going to let you do that because we know who you are. See? So no, you don't get to see donor lists. Donating to political parties is the right of the citizen. And it's not your fucking business what they do with their money. It's not your money. It's their money. They earned it. So, anyway, Obama was going after all these conservative businesses and raking in hundreds of billions of dollars. And it didn't go into the Treasury to pay down his outrageous debt. It was going to his supporters. Tesla. People like that were getting all these millions and millions and millions of dollars. Oh, and another thing he was doing.
Oh, yeah, all the libs complain about corporate welfare, but they sure seem to like Tesla.
Yeah, they love that kind of corporate welfare. And these NGO groups like Antifa and BLM, he was funneling this slush fund money to these hate groups. So, this totalitarian Stalinist pig Obama was using the power of the federal government, like a police state would use it, to go after people for bogus violations mostly, fining them multi-billions of dollars, funneling it to their political supporters. It doesn't get more corrupt than this. Well, Jeff Sessions shut it down. He shut it down. He shut down the slush fund crap. This is why they hate
No wonder they're acting up and acting out. It must be.
Now, what I couldn't understand was why Trump was out there bad-mouthing Sessions. What the fuck? Sessions, who has integrity, stepped down in terms of the Russia investigation, which shouldn't have been as far-reaching as it was. Yeah, in the long run, maybe he shouldn't have. He did it because he had integrity.
Yeah, the previous DOJ would never have done anything like that.
No, of course not. They had outright fraud going on. You had the tarmac meeting. There's no corruption here. You had Holder doing fast and furious funneling guns to dangerous drug cartels, which end up all over the world killing innocent people. Great administration. So beautiful. Anyway, all this is being shut down as Sessions, whose appointment was put on hold for so long, he finally gets in there and he is kicking ass. Now the other one who's kicking ass is Scott Pruitt. He has exposed the lying climate change fraudsters. And the left is howling their filthy, disgusting bowels out. That was also, the EPA had a slush fund. They were shaking down conservative donors, even ordinary property owners, going after them for a pond on their property, causing them multi-millions in ordinary people, millions and millions in legal fees for this garbage against the government. When the government has all their resources aligned against you, it doesn't matter that their case is bogus. They're going to win their case or they're going to impoverish you. And I have a whole cache of cases where they did that. So, Scott Pruitt, excellent. McMaster has to go. Tillerson, he's not cleaning up the State Department. He's making that swamp deeper. And we didn't elect Jared Kushner. Don't care if he's family. I know Trump feels he can't trust anyone but family, but he doesn't realize politics is thicker than blood. Not that Ivanka and Kushner mean Trump ill, but their political alliances do. The political alliances of Kushner and Ivanka are a danger to Trump, and he doesn't see it. He doesn't see it.
Interesting.
It's going to come and smack him in the face. We wouldn't have had any of this shit with Cruz.
Well, they would have been looking for
Trump is learning the hard way, and he's not learning fast.
Well,
Cruz knows how that machine works. Trump did not.
Well, here's another thing about it, though, is Mueller's
Trump thought.
Basically,
you know what he said to Rush Limbaugh? Trump actually said this to Rush Limbaugh. He said he thought he could unify the Democrats and the Republicans. You cannot unify people who want you dead. What you do with Democrats is you walk on their faces and grind your boot heel into them while you're doing it, because they are more deadly than the most poisonous snake you could find on the planet. You defeat them utterly. There's no working with them. That party is evil. There are no moderates in that party. They no longer care about the working man. They are Stalinists and they're fascists, and they need to be defeated as soundly as Hitler.
Where all the money went?
Yeah, where did old Butthead's infrastructure money go?
To the slush fund?
No. There was actually a map online that showed who benefited from the infrastructure spending, and it was all the Democrat cities, and the money went to their budget deficits for public sector unions.
Oh, wonderful.
None of it went to any infrastructure jobs whatsoever. And when this was pointed out to Obama, all he did was laugh. So we had our wealth redistributed to these filthy, budget-busting, inefficient, corrupt, wasteful, selfish garbage cities and their public sector unions. And you know what happened in Kansas while we're on the subject? You know, Scott Walker did it right. He took his boot heels. He didn't even grind. I would have ground harder. And he had the entire country meltdown mode. Public sector union thugs imported from all over the country to destroy his capital in Wisconsin. I'm asking, did you hear about this?
No, I'd missed that, apparently.
Well, what happened in Wisconsin was like Kristallnacht, which is why Scott Walker.
Fantastic.
They were bankrupting Wisconsin, which is why he did away with only the union.
Collins, I sure know. The other one I've heard a bit about.
Both of them are run.
Oh, yeah. The lead.
Those two plus the brain sell off their mansions and pay us back for their criminal endeavors. Because they use the 7 million illegals in this state as a permanent voting bloc to stay in power, these corrupt pigs. I hope Jeff Sessions does it. Every sanctuary city official and their big mouths, they've declared themselves sanctuary cities. Round them up and jail them.
Yep.
They're self-admitted lawbreakers.
Yeah, aiding and abetting, and they're not talking about it.
You have the prima facie case right there because they admitted they're doing it proudly. How is that different than some other criminal who admits he's done the crime? Haul him in, investigate his ass, find it, get more evidence against him and jail him. That's what has to be done, or this state is done for.
Well, I have some idiot that I put this thing with MLK going. I have a dream, but you liberals keep on fucking it up with your identity politics. And then, so I have some idiot, Judge Douche or whatever he calls himself, goes, MLK was a socialist, my good bitch.
Martin Luther King was a Republican. Where did they get this rubbish?
I know.
Did they pull it out of their ass every morning?
Yeah.
Who puts these insane ideas in these people's empty heads? Did the guy ever actually even read anything Martin Luther King said? What Martin Luther King advocated was for a colorblind society where economic opportunity, capitalism, pulled blacks out of poverty. That's what he advocated. What are these jokers advocating?
Yeah.
Socialism, where the filthy rich get richer and everyone else gets poor? Yeah, all you have to do is look at the Pope's own country, Argentina. Socialism destroyed it. It was the leading, wealthiest country at the turn of the century, Argentina was. And then the socialist rats and parasites and ticks came in and sucked the blood out of it and destroyed it. Greece, destroyed by socialism. France, in the process. Germany, in the process. Sweden, in the process. And you know what? If we pulled our military out of all those countries and they had to defend themselves, we'd save hundreds of billions and trillions, actually, of military dollars we can spend on our own self-defense. And they would have to provide for their own, so there would go their socialized medicine. I had to explain to somebody, oh yeah, Sweden's socialized medicine only works because they don't have to pay to defend themselves.
Oh,
and it doesn't even work because you're waiting.
Now
Somebody
I know.
actually found the statistics of how long you have to wait to see a doctor for each specialty, and it's years in some cases. 40 months, 35 months, 20 months. By then, most people die if it's an emergency thing like a brain tumor. You send McCain to one of those countries. He wants to give us socialized medicine. Let him enjoy it. They can remove his head. It doesn't do him any good anyways.
Wow, they got this. I now looked up Martin Luther King as a socialist, and of course, it's Huffington Post.
And they're lies.
Jacobin Mag. And then CNN debunking the myths about MLK, saying that he was never a Republican.
Yeah, this is all rubbish. These people are such liars. Why does the media think they have any credibility whatsoever? I wrote that I don't even bother to read the articles anymore. I just come here to laugh at the idiots who try to defend this rubbish and enjoy the comments from like-minded people because they're so hilarious. The media has zero credibility. The media has a lower approval rating than Mitch McConnell, and his approval rating is 18%. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah. Oh, there's
His approval rating is 18%. Meanwhile, Trump's is 40%, which is identical to what Obama's was at the same time in his first 6 months.
Let's
when
see.
he was winning all these awards for doing nothing. The Nobel Peace Prize for setting the entire Middle East on fire and being responsible for the deaths of millions of people throughout the entire Middle East. That's what he wins a Nobel Peace Prize. Forget Reagan, who stopped the threat of nuclear war with the USSR, brought down the Berlin Wall, and freed people from oppression without firing a shot. No massive city destruction, people burning or bombs dropping, none of that. And he doesn't win a Nobel Peace Prize, and the guy who basically destroys the entire Middle East, he gets a Nobel Peace Prize. Do you see how, what a complete joke. They better rename the Nobel Peace Prize to the Libtard Peace Prize for creating the most damage possible in the universe. I'll have to think of a good title for the ignoble Peace Prize. Set the whole Middle East on fire. I want to know, after the libtards lectured everyone about how removing Saddam Hussein was terrible because it destabilized Iraq and yada yada. Great. So, after that lesson we should have learned, Hitler destroyed Libya by removing Gaddafi, and they wanted to do the same with Assad?
Yep.
I thought we were supposed to learn from this. You criticize Bush, and then you do the same thing, only worse. There is, the fact.
Oh, I have to jump. We will talk more, but I'm being called to a task.
I have a question. How is it liberals are so stupid and hypocritical?
Well, fluoride, flu shots, Ritalin. Oh, hold on just a moment. I'll have to give you. Oh, let me get your thing.
All right. Well, call me when you're done.
Okay. All right.